Hi everyone, this is Leah Mote, and I am back with part two of how my speech training has helped me in my career path and my life. I've talked about the Oklahoma bombing and property management and how my speech training has helped me with that. I talked about working in corporate securities and working in corporate real estate and how that helped me land and really grow in that industry. After I left that industry, I have worked in a variety of different ways. I have taught college public speaking, and I off and on did some work with coaching business people in their presentations and their platform experience and practice. But then I took some time off, and I had some kids and wanted to take some time to raise them. But even during that time, I had a passion that began to grow and grow more and more, and felt like God had put it on my heart to pursue this because it was something that I really believed in. I really believe in Christians being involved in the world of the arts in a way that makes us relevant. Sometimes Christians do art that is kind of cheesy, and the world out there says, you're not very good at that. So from that, I just literally decided I'm going to do it. I started a nonprofit organization called Mosaic Arts Group. The purpose was to connect Christians who were in theater and film with others in the same way. So our goal was to encourage amazing works of art, both on film and in theater, or to write a screenplay or a stage play that was going to rock the world regardless of its message. And our goal was to connect and encourage professional actors, writers, directors in the world that is a very difficult world to be if you have a Christian faith, as well as to encourage educators and people doing theater or film and drama in their church or other community kind of organizations. So because, again, of my speech training, Mosaic Arts Group took off only because I could get up in front of the group and inspire them with the vision that I had been given and help them share and grow theirs. And it was a very successful nonprofit, and I ran it for many years until I moved to Houston, where I kind of couldn't do Austin and Houston, where I used to live. It was just too big. And so in the last 5 or 6 years, I have actually started a company called LV Mote Consulting Group. And again, remember I talked about my expertise, my strength, my love is strategic communication. LV Mote Consulting Group did just that, and we did it in many different ways. I had business clients, I had a rock band, I have an actor, I have a political elected official. And so with each one of those clients, what they needed and desired was different. But the core skills that I had gained in my speech training came through time and time again, whether it was crafting messaging, anticipating attacks on the political side, whether it was helping a performer market themselves better to a wider range of people instead of just a theater group, a rock musician who was trying to get his start and wanted to market himself more professionally. All these things, a businessman who needed help writing content that made him appear professional and an expert in his field. All these things came together because, again, I had studied communication strategy, strategic communication. But I also work with people now. I'm an executive speech coach, and what I do is I help them with their speeches. A lot of people get promotions, and suddenly they go from being the technology guru to the vice president, and now they're running meetings and dealing with a lot of more people, and they need some speech training. So we work with that. I work with them one-on-one. I have CEOs, I have architects, I have people in sales, and I even have people in finance who, for one reason or another, have come to me because they desired to be coached to get a little bit better in their presentation skills or in putting the speech together. And so it's such a rewarding opportunity now because this is my business and I get to choose my clients, and I find value that I am able to use everything that I learned and everything that I've learned through experience to apply it to their situation and help them avoid pitfalls. So it's very rewarding. The last part of my business, and this is the newest stage for me, is that I am gearing a little bit away from the consulting and focusing a little bit more on being a professional speaker. Now, some of you may be going, yeah, that's what I want. I want to be the next Tony Robbins or, one of these guys you've seen on TV or YouTube. And that's an awesome goal. I got to tell you, that was my goal. And I'm also going to tell you that I knew I had what it took to make the big bucks, to get out there and do it all. But I ran into a wall, a very big wall, and that was the business of professional speaking. See, I had the goods. I knew how to write a speech, how to be funny. I knew all that. But the business of being a professional speaker, I have to be honest, has been a little bit daunting for me. A one-woman shop where I'm trying to do it all myself and not go into any debt. Now, some of you may end up being entrepreneurs. You may own your own business. You may say, I love what she's doing. I'm going to pursue that road. Well, let me encourage you to take some business courses if you're thinking you're going to be a speech major. Find out about marketing, what it involves, about business planning, about finance, because all those things come into play when you decide you're going to be a professional speaker. So a few other stories I would like just to share. I also have been very politically involved all my life. Goes back to my passion for what I wanted, which was strategic communication. I don't want to talk just to be the entertainer. I want to make a difference and change someone's mind. I'm a crusader at heart, so to speak. And so some of the other things that I've done with my speaking background, which is so funny. In Colorado, I met a lady who was running for Congress. She was a state rep who decided to run for Congress in a very contested race. And I just loved her message. And I said to her one day, you know, have you ever thought of bringing on a surrogate speaker so that you can go and share your message just to more places more often? And she goes, great, you're it. Talk to my campaign manager. You're my surrogate speaker. And I was kind of not expecting that. She didn't know my background, but I was her surrogate speaker, so whenever she had to speak and she was double booked or couldn't make it, I went to speak on her behalf. Now, think about this. People don't want to hear from some girl, some lady that they don't know. They want to hear from a lady who's running for a Congress who has a serious message she wants to portray. And so I got a lot of pushback, but it was the best experience of my life because I was on the stage with U.S. senators and governors, and when it was my turn to speak for her, learned through trial and error how to perfect a message that was enticing to the people that were there, that was valid and truthful and ethical, and promoted my candidate. So that was really fun. I also had a chance to candidate myself to be voted as a national delegate to the Republican National Convention years ago. And we had 3 minutes to get up on the stage and just kind of quickly say who we are and why we hope that this big constituency at our state convention would vote for me to go represent them on the national level. And right before we all went up, we were told that our 3-minute speech was cut to 1 minute. And literally seconds before we all started speaking, going to the podium to speak, they told us we had 30 seconds each. And that was fun. And the speech training, again, helped me cut it down as much as I could. I got elected, so that was a good thing, I hope. So you see all these different things that you can do. You can also really work with your family. There are tools that you're gaining in this speech training about understanding people and working with people and working as a team and having interpersonal relationships and interpersonal communication and running meetings. All these things come into play in your church, in community involvement, whatever it is that you do in your family, that you can't go wrong by having speech training. Some key elements I've already mentioned, but I just want to throw out here to you is some of the benefits that you won't realize right away, and I wrote these down so I wouldn't ramble, are, you organize your thoughts better, you work as part of a team, you work with deadlines really well, you can express yourself clearly and make sense. You can do research and analysis. You can problem solve because you have to as you prepare to present an argument or a presentation. And you're creative. You can take logic and details and facts and incorporate stories and present them in a way that is unique, that makes your presentation and your speech, powerful and makes an impact. There are a few things I want to leave you about, some concerns that I just want to leave you with. And things I never thought. I mentioned I didn't like being on commission, and yet if you're a strong speaker, they're going to think you're in sales. Sometimes when you're a strong communicator, you scare people. And sometimes, and you don't mean to, you come across very confident, and that intimidates people. Sometimes it intimidates your boss or someone who is trying to leverage authority or power over you. And in life, unfortunately, these things happen. And so it's important that as a person who has a strong speaking ability, whether you do it as a career or as just part of what you choose to do, that you understand sometimes you might come across too strong, and you have to be able to analyze that and change your presentation and your words so as to accommodate some people's insecurities. Never thought I'd say that, but after doing this for a while, that happens. When you go in front of an audience or on video or on film, there are certain assumptions that people make about you automatically. They assume that you're an expert. They assume you're an expert speaker. They assume you're an expert in whatever it is you're talking about. They also assume that you're a leader. They also will think that, well, you've arrived and you've got it all. And some people will assume because you're so good that you're a counselor, and there will be people who come to you seeking advice. They also assume that you're always in control, and as a speaker you do have to learn how to control a room in case there's an emergency or a very annoying, disruptive audience member, which is for another video. Sometimes people perceive your confidence and your sense of control and expertise as a challenge to them, and you become a target. And I don't mean to scare you, and it's not anything bad. There's just a challenge, but you're learning how to handle all that in your speech training. I will tell you that no matter what you do in your life, what you are doing right now, whether you pursue it in college or not, it's awesome. You are grounding yourself and gearing your mind and wiring your mind in a way that will make you such an effective communicator. I want to leave you with one last story. This is a volunteer position, but I was appointed by the governor of Texas to sit on the Texas State Board of Dental Examiners. It's kind of like the medical board, but it's for dentists. Now, I'm not a dentist. I floss my teeth, and that's about it. But because the governor also requires on each board not only professional dentists, hygienists, oral surgeons, and the like, they also require 3 or 4 public citizens. So last Friday I was in Austin where the board had their quarterly board meeting, and we had a very large group of people wanting to speak to us, and so we have the public and they speak kind of like a city council meeting. We don't respond, we just listen. And there is a very hot topic right now that has brought the medical community, the medical professions, and some dentists together, and they're all lobbying the dental board to make rules to benefit their side. And in this meeting, we were trying to figure out how to state and word the rules to help the profession. And if you hear some humming, there's a lawnmower going by over in the yard. But anyway, after about 45 minutes of conversation on one page and one paragraph, I made a comment very simply, why don't we strike this sentence, combine the two, and then present it this way? And that eventually was voted on and passed. And later, the former presiding officer came up to me and said, I'm so happy you're on the board. And I laughed because I'm like, well, I don't know anything about the dental stuff, so I feel like an idiot. She said, no, you always have comments that are articulate and clarify what we're all sitting there trying to say. And so I really cherished that comment. It made me feel like I was valuable, even though I'm not a dentist. And again, I attribute that, guys, to my speech training, to the ability to process words, data, logic, and put it out verbally in a way that makes sense and helps people make decisions. So I hope that what I've shared with you is something that you find interesting. Love to answer your questions. You guys want to Skype with me? I'll Skype with you. You want to email me some questions? I would be happy to answer them for you. There are so many jobs that you can have as a speaker. You can be a lawyer. You can be in public relations, education, policy. Anything you do, your speech training will not let you down. Of course, you need to concentrate in certain areas, scientific or medical. Of course, you need to get degrees and classes for that kind of expertise, but your speech training will never let you down. Good luck if you still have competitions. I'd love to hear your comments if this was beneficial, or if you have any questions, I'd love to help. Well, take care, and if you ever come to Texas, come say howdy.